vector e dbt demo. So select folder. So now we are going to see how we can install DBT core in our local system and try to work with it. So the one mandatory thing is that you should have Python. Python should be installed in your system. See, I have Python already installed in my system. So you can install Python. It's an open source. So most probably a version above 3.8 is suggestible when you're working with DBT. So that's what I think even in their documentation they are suggesting. Like Python version should be greater than 3.8. You should keep that in mind. Now, after that, we have to create a virtual environment. So I have copy pasted the syntax so that I wouldn't forget these things, right? You have to create a virtual environment. So this name can be anything. So for the purpose, I kept it as DBT1. You can keep it as anything. My name now, something like that. So just to be clear, I kept it as DBT1 because so what is the purpose of this virtual environment, right? Whenever I do this, what happens? It creates a virtual environment which mimics the actual Python you have installed in your system. So what is the purpose of this is like we are going to install DBT using pip installer, pip package manager. So if I try to install it, I can directly install it using the package manager without creating a virtual environment. But the purpose here is because in your actual Python, so DBT, when you're trying to install DBT, it also comes with a certain set of packages. It will also install not only DBT, it will install some other dependencies in that in the package we are going to install. Let's say if I'm going to install pip install DBT, not only installs DBT, since it's a package manager, it comes as a bundle. It will install other dependencies also. But so what happens if I directly try to install DBT without enabling one means sometimes there is a chance of colliding with this Python also may have these dependencies which DBT is expecting, but DBT may require certain version which may not be present in the Python we have installed, right? So this may collide. These things may collide, and you may have to again go and install see new version of Python again install. If I enable one version, what happens in the sandbox environment? It's kind of sandbox. It installs whatever it needs. It does not collide with the actual Python you have in your system. You are getting my point, team? So, anyways, not only while installing DBT, for that matter, if you are installing any software, it's better advisable to create a virtual environment and then on top of it try to install your packages when you're trying to play with in your system, because this package may be expecting some dependencies of Python of some X version, and you're trying to again install another software, it may be expecting dependencies some Y version. They should not both collide, right? You're getting my point, team? Hello? Is it confusing to you guys, or is it clear?
It's clear.
Clear, right? Yeah. So for this demo, I'm using a database. If you are aware of the SQLite, it's a light heavyweight SQL for doing while building applications, which you can use and try to create a SQL table. In the similar form, we have a light heavyweight analytical database known as DuckDB. So for this demo, I'm using this since it's an open source. So now I have enabled. Now I have created a virtual environment. Now I have to enable it. For this, so inside DBT, we have scripts, we have an activate. So what I have to do, slash scripts, some, one second, yeah, VNV, sorry, okay, scripts, activate, right? Now I have to install DuckDB. So see, now it is installing DuckDB. Lot of dependency packages are getting installed. When you're asked what is pip, what is the use of pip? If somebody asks you in an interview, you say that it's a package manager Let's say, for example, if I want to install a set of packages as a bundle, I will do this using pip. Pip is a kind of package manager, which is used to install all the set of packages, Python dependencies in one go. So that is the that is the use of pip. Now you can see, right, it changed. I have enabled the when environment. Now I have installed the DBT, DuckDB. Now what I'll do, I'll try to see if the DBT got installed or not. Let's see if it will provide some version. DBT is installed. So plug. So here it is saying it's not compatible, but that's not a big deal because it's going to. We are not using. We are not going to go with in the live demo. We are not like in the actual training classes. We are not going to use DuckDB. We are only going to use Snowflake. It's pretty much cloud, so there is no point of worrying about this. So you can see now the core 1.8.7 is installed. So after that, to initialize a DBT project, I have to use a command DBT init. So init, what it will do, it will install the necessary mandatory DBT folder structure and everything. So I have to give my project name. So something I'll give like something like transformations, something like this. Any number, something you can type any number here. It will ask for a number. Uh, Setting up here for which database would you like? Okay. See, now it installed a folder for me, transformations, with the mandatory DBT models. I told you, right, that day, important folders of DBT, macros, models, tests, snapshots, everything and all. And a DBT project YAML file, which is important for you to run your DBT project inside your DB. So actually, this is how in your local system you have to initialize a DBT project. So now I have already created a DBT project. So I have been doing some personal work. I have already created a DBT project, which you guys I'll show you. I have done a lot of things there. So in the same name, I have created with the same name. So here you can see we have transformations, we have macros, models, everything. So there is this folder file called profiles. So profiles file is the file actually we use it for connecting our DBT project to the database. So the connection details and everything will give inside this profiles file. So if you remember, I told you that day. So this is what. So I have my database here inside a folder called extract. So now I have to change it. So what I'll do, extract. So this is how. So let me go to that path and try to run DBT there. Let's see if it runs, right? You can see one second. First, you can see I also have when enabled here also. I'll show you. There should be the when. See, you have a when here also. First, I'll enable the virtual environment. I told you, right? First, you have to enable virtual environment. So then only you can start working because I installed everything, all the things related in my DBT in this virtual ANV. So for me, to again try to run my DBT, I have to enable this virtual environment every time in my local system. So if you want, I don't want this hassle. DBT is the only software I'm going to use in my system. Then there is no need to even create this virtual environment. You can skip this part directly. So you can only install pip Python and pip install, then directly install pip install DuckDB or DuckDB or Snowflake for that matter. So now I have to go inside this folder transformations, which is my DBT folder. You can have any name, but since I have it, the name here as transformations, I use it. So let me use this command called DBT debug. So what is the purpose of this command? So DBT debug command, uh, helps you to verify your connection details, whether your DBT project, whether it got connected to the database which you are planning to work. So that is the purpose of DBT debug command. So let me try to run the DBT debug command and see if whether it is working or not. You can see it errored out, saying that uh, it cannot find the file path which I actually have given here, because see, now the folder I have given here is wrong. It is not inside extract. It should not be like this. It should be like this. So it should be under extract. So let me run. See, now you can see all checks have passed. So you have to keep something in mind. I have my profiles here, but if you see, let me open another window, new window. But if you see the uh, previous one, the one I just created now, right? If you see there, you wouldn't be seeing this profiles file there. If I open this file, you will not be able to. You only have DBT project YAML file. You don't see the profiles file here. In generally, in a Windows system, when you try to run DBT, so DBT by default, it will store this inside your C drive under this .dbt folder. You have this profile C. You can see it got updated just now because I tried to create a new folder. By default, in your local system, DBT tries to create the profiles file under C drive user section in a .dbt file. But if you see, it will have a lot of connections. So I think this is the latest connection we have given transformations. I have also given previous connections, so that's why they are there. Now it updated with a new connection. But this is not where we want our profiles to be, because if you want to deploy this project anywhere, there will not be any .dbt file. Ideally, it will not work. So for that reason, what you have to do is you have to create a profiles with a similar configuration like this. The one with the similar configurations like this, you have to create a profiles in your actual DBT folder where all the models and macros, everything is there, right? You have to create a profiles file there itself. So while running the commands, now DBT sometimes, if you see, so DBT, you have to mention clearly to DBT, because initially when you start, since I have run this already, it automatically detected that profiles is here. But for DBT, what happens is like it will fail to detect the profiles file. If you create it here, it will not detect it from here. It will try to fetch from this folder under C section. Under C folder, there will be another profiles. It will try to fetch from there. So you have to clearly give the a flag called profiles. It's called directory, and you have to clearly mention where this is present. Now where this is present inside my transformation folder, right? So it is the profiles directory is nothing but the folder path where my profiles .yaml files, the connection file is present. So I have to give it clearly that this is where uh, it is residing. So you have to pick the file from here. In a similar way, you can give, let's say you're trying to run a model, you are going inside a model and trying to run it. Sometimes, let me go inside this called models. Now, if I try to run DBT debug, let's see what happens. So DBT run. There is another command called DBT run. Let's see what happens if I try to run it from here.
Hello.
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 Hello, yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Sorry, who is
Sorry.
Avanya? Yeah, tell me. Any doubt?
Sorry, Nagaraju. It's wrong call. You can continue.
Okay. Okay. Team, if you can stop me if you get any doubt in middle, right? So what I'll do, I'll go outside this transformation folder and try to run DBT run, something like this. So no DBT project YAML file. You can clearly see, right? So there is actually no, it is saying that in a given path, we didn't find DBT project YAML file. So let's see whether you even have the DBT inside. You should be having DBT because it said when we have DBT, but it is not able to run DBT because in the actual folder we are having the DBT project YAML file is missing. So in this case, how I have to run? I have to give something flag called project directory. Where is my project directory? It is inside my current folder inside transformations. Let's see if it runs. You can see, right? It is running. It is failing because of some other XYZ issues, but it was able to find the models which actually I'm having inside are 28 models. It is trying to run those models. So this is what I'm trying to say. So when you're trying to run DBT, if you are inside transformations folders, it is well and good. If you are trying to run the DBT from any other folder or any other file as any other path, you have to clearly mention this flag project directory. And you also want DBT to detect the profiles from where you actually gave the profiles. It's not from the default path when you try to install DBT. If you have another path where you have profiles and you want to overwrite the default behavior of DBT, you have to mention another flag called profiles directory. It will override the default behavior. So let's say I can run DBT debug even from outside also. So I have to give my profiles directory. It's under transformations. Let's see if it runs. Cannot open the file, extract. Okay. Okay. Since the folder path I mentioned here, it's outside because now if you can see, I am under Orca coding challenge, but it is trying to see two folders outside Orca coding challenge and trying to find extract from it. But if it goes out two folders outside Orca coding challenge, it will go into directly into D drive. So I have to somehow I could have given this as static, but I have given this as dynamic because um, most necessarily I wouldn't be running it outside the DBT project, right? So that's why I have given it like this. So for this, what I can do, I can simply say in the current route. Now let me try to run here. See, connection is succeeded. It was able to find the file I have mentioned. Project load failed with the following reason. Because DBT project YAML is not found. Because I'm now, if I give both, you will not be able to see this issue. Okay. Now let's see. See, I have clearly mentioned the path of both profiles and project, everything. So that now it was able to clearly detect my DBT project, even if I am not running it from inside my DBT project. So this is a small trick that we can use to run DBT even outside from the DBT project. So let me go inside my DBT project. So clear till now, team, any doubts or something like that? Okay. So we inside so we have DBT project. We will see piece by piece, like what are the things that are present in DBT project YAML file. So naming for the YAML file and the version. So these are static default fields that we will get. So my profiles. So it is saying that now if I open my profiles.file, I have given the connection details name as IPL dataset. So now now I am saying that I can give multiple connections here. It's to the same DuckDB. If I want, I can give Snowflake connection also here. Anything like that. See, this is a DuckDB connection. So I can also give Snowflake connection. So if I show you here, I have a Snowflake connection here. So I have a DuckDB connection here. See, I can overwrite the connection in DBT project. If I want to run my project inside Snowflake, in the profiles I can overwrite this connection. The IPLD, for example, let me take this from here. It's so data radian something like this. So if I want to overwrite, I want to use my DBT. I want my DBT to use uh, uh, Snowflake connection. I can give it as data radian here. It is just I am naming this connection here. So this is one way of doing things. So this is fine. And we have model paths where I have created all my SQL files in my DBT. So inside model path I have given. So we have to clearly mention. This is, you can see it is directly, the hierarchy is similar for models, folder and DBT project YAML5 hierarchy is similar. So I am clearly mentioning models dot slash found in models dot slash. So models path is under models are under models. So tests are under folder called tests. So whenever if I'm trying to run DBT test, it will go inside this test module and see if I have any generic test defined. Seeds. So seeds is another kind of um, object inside DBT where instead of trying to connect to a database, let's say you have a static CSV file. So if you have a static CSV file which is not going to change, let's say for example, countries and currencies. So I don't think countries and currencies is going to ever change. And we have total of somewhere around 150 plus countries. So it is a static thing. There is no need, no point of connecting to a DB and getting these details. Instead, you can have a CSV file. You can mention that the CSV file under seeds. You can clearly mention that my seeds path is under a folder called seeds, and macros similar. If you write any macros, so the path of for the macros will be under macros. Snapshots is a snapshot is a kind of a mechanism in DBT or an object in DBT which helps you build SED type 2 tables, slow changing dimension type 2 tables. So these things. So clean target. So these things, whenever you run a DBT, these things target and logs will get automatically get created. So if I run something called DBT clean, it will clean my DBT project. Whenever I run DBT, it will provide some junk or temporary data for before creating the actual data. So if you want to clean your DBT project with all before running a new run, you can uh, type some command, something like DBT clean. What it will do, it will clean these things. You can see, right? It will go inside DBT package. If there is any folder, it will try to clean everything. You can see inside logs, it will try to clean. There is, so all these things is general DBT. Normal in even in Git also, like normal in Linux also, you'll use the clean or clear. So it will just clean all the residue and temporary files. So inside models, I have folders called transformations, intermediate, final, staging. So inside, so you have to be clear here. You can see this is normal model hierarchy. Inside my models, I have final, intermediate, staging. But you may be wondering why I'm using transformations again here. Transformations is my DBT project name. So by default, this is a very important thing. Often people tend to miss these things. So you have to in the models under before mentioning all the model folders you have, all the SQL file folders you have. If you want to do any changes on top of them, before you have under models, the first thing you have to do is you have to definitely mention the project name. This is suggested by DBT. Then and only you have to mention whatever the models you have under the model section. You have to have the project name for sure. Project name should be there, or else this will not get read. DBT will fail to read these models what you have. So under models you should have transformations. That is your DBT project name. I have it as transformation. You can have it as anything. So under that only you have to mention all your models and structures and hierarchy. So that is how it is. So you can see I have one more thing called sources.yaml. Now here I have mentioned something called CSV data, JSON data, SQLite data. So I will open dbeaver and show. So connection close. System cannot find the path specified. So okay, that's fine. I will change the connection here. So it's not inside DuckDB. Sorry, DB or coding challenge. So this is where I have my DB. I'll try to open this and let's see if it opens. Okay. See, it got connected. Uh, inside, you have inside tables, you have these three tables. So these are actually the source tables. So in DBT, whatever the source tables you have, from where you want to extract data, so you will create a YAML file called source.yaml. So it's not necessarily it should be source.yaml, but people generally uh, create it like this because the other person who are trying to open the DBT project, they should be able to understand. Okay, source.yaml means it contains all the sources. So inside these sources, we will name the sources. And one more thing, the name you are giving to the source should actually match with the schema name where your sources are residing. So this is also something people tend to miss. So I have my source tables inside a schema called main. So here the name of the sources that you are defining in DBT also should be the name. So database is obviously you can see the database is sources. So if you have multiple database, you have to mention the database also clearly. The tables which I want to use as my sources are CSV data, JSON data, and SQLite. These are table names. You can see, right? When I come to the staging, for example, now I want to refer my source table inside a SQL model I am trying to create. So I have to define it in this way. From this is a kind of this is way in DBT. So which actually DBT when you are try to create it like this, DBT try to decode this as now he is trying to select from a table called CSV data from main schema. So DBT will try to decode it in such a way. But in a normal DBT language, you have to mention this as source. But when I am trying to refer any SQL model I have created, it is not a source. If I am trying to refer to any SQL model I have created, for example, stage game is there. Okay, stage game. So now I am selecting from a source called JSON data. This JSON data, this is not a model I created, but stage game.sql is a model I created. So I am trying to refer it in another model called stage match info. So here I have to use referencing. Ref is nothing but referencing. I am referencing to a model called stage game. It is nothing but stage game.sql. You can consider it as a SQL table. You're trying to select columns again from the table inside this table called match info, right? Be clear on this. Like whenever I am trying to directly query from the tables which are already present in my database, I have to use source. I have to mention them in my sources YAML.file and I have to uh, infer them. I have to read from them with naming convention called source. Now, whenever I am trying to create a model on top of the SQL model I have already created, for example, stage match info, I have to use the key term called reference, right? Clear? So reference. So again, let's go to DBT project file. I can clearly mention there are materialization is nothing but how you want your model to get created inside your database. In here materialization, I have given it as view, my staging folder. So there is this folder called staging. So inside staging, the materialization, whatever the models that are present under this folder inside staging, they should get created as views in my database. They should not get created as tables. They should get created as views. The schema, the where this models under this folder, in which schema they should get created. They should get created under the schema called stage. See, you can see this is my main schema. I have sources here. I have clearly defined. So my staging, the models, SQL models I have under the staging folder will get created as views here. Clear? So next I have another folder called intermediate. So in generally, if you go outside in any org also, this is what the folder structure will be for a DBT. For intermediate, so there is another folder called intermediate. The models inside this intermediate folder should get materialized, should get created as tables in my database. And under which schema they should get created? They should get created in under a schema called intermediate. So don't confuse, guys. This is not mandatory for this name and this name should. There is no mandate that this name and this name should be same. So for just for general reference purpose, so that people can try to compare the database with the DBT project, it will be easy. So for that purpose only, I just gave the name same. You can give any other name, whatever name you feel like. See, you can see clearly, right? Here I have my folder as staging, but my schema is stage. So these are not same, but even though it will get created. So only thing where the name and the schema should be actually same is while when you are defining sources. In sources, the name should actually match with the schema name where you are trying to get the data schema name where which has some tables from where you are trying to get data as your sources for your DBT project. So this is the only place where the name should be matching. But whenever you are defining in DBT project YAML file, the names, the schema name and the folder name, there is no need for matching these things. Yeah, don't confuse that with this. So again, I have my another schema called final. So I am telling this should be materialized as table inside a schema called final. Just YAML descriptions you are giving. You're giving inputs to your DBT project that where whatever the models we have, where they should get created and how they should get created. That's it. As simple as that. So there is no complex logic involved here. So you see, you have final here. You have tables. See, you have things here. All my final all the models under my final folder got created as tables here. So this is how it works. Yeah, so this is a quick rundown of DBT and how the folder structure looks like and what are the key important things like basic when you're trying to start a DBT project. So these are some basics you should be aware of. So with these basics, I think you can start DBT project by yourself. So that's it, team. That's what
Yeah.
I have in my agenda for today. Sorry.
One question I had here, and can you open
Okay.
that
You're not audible.
Can you click on the sources.ml?
Okay.
Yeah, here you have considered this DuckDB as a source right here. Suppose if it is a Snowflake, what are the tables available in the Snowflake warehouse? We have to mention all these tables here to use this in the DBT models.
Now, what you want to use in your DBT model, you have to mention not all the tables. It's not necessary to mention all the tables. Whatever the tables you need. Sorry.
Yeah, what are the tables required for transformation? We have to mention all the
Hmm.
tables here, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So this is not mandatory that you should have a file called sources.yaml. I can
Okay.
name this as nagaraj.yaml also. That's not mandatory. But this is mandatory. Inside a YAML file, you should have a tag called sources, which tells DBT that okay, these are sources that this fellow is trying to consume from the database and trying to do transformations using this data. You're getting my point?
Yeah, got it. And these are the
Great.
source fields we are using for transformations. Okay. This
Exactly.
is for DBT core, right? I mean, what about DBT cloud also? We have to same procedure. We have to use the same
See,
procedure. I have to follow the
so
same
if
procedure.
see if I will tell you one thing, Ganesh. So if
Yeah.
somebody says that we will charge extra for you to, we will teach you DBT cloud, so don't believe. See, there is no huge difference between DBT core and DBT cloud. Fundamental principles are same. Only thing is DBT cloud is self-managed. You don't see here. I am creating all these things. I am creating a project. These things are there, right? The dependencies. I told you, right? The installation, these things. I am doing all these things by myself. In DBT Cloud, you won't be doing all these things. So they will do the self management for you. On top of that, they will provide you these future orchestration features, where once you create your pipelines, you can automatically schedule them to have in the form of jobs where you can run them, but underlining fundamental principle of DBT is same. It's not, fundamental principles will not change for core and cloud, right? So if somebody asks me, I know DBT, so in interview also, they wouldn't be asking you whether you know core or cloud. They will be asking you the terms that are important
No,
in actually in DBT. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not aware of this DBT. That's why I'm asking this
Yeah,
question.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain. So DBT cloud thing, what happens is, since it's a paid thing, one thing is you can get orchestration. You saw it previously. I was trying to see the DBT version. So for example, if I see DBT version here, it failed, saying that DuckDB is not compatible. So these are some things you have to manage in core, but in cloud you don't have to manage these things, because cloud, you don't even care about version. That will be taken care by DBT team. DBT team will take care. So you just create your folder structure in DBT Cloud. That's it. You'll start running models. Start running. You will define a profiles, connection details. You'll start running everything. And one more thing is, they also provide you support. Let's say if there is any bug or anything that arises in the cloud you purchase, they'll provide support and all. So you'll have a good community support for cloud, because it's a paid thing, obviously. Since if you have a very strong team in your arsenal who can you are very good at these things, or managing the softwares and everything, so you can go with core. Why waste money on cloud, I would say. Yeah.
The kind of infrastructure maintenance on our end.
Infrastructure main infra Exactly, infrastructure maintenance. If the team is well equipped with resources who can do the infrastructure management, score should be enough, right? So yeah, but see, in our company currently we are using cloud. I'll tell you the reason. So there are, in the entire data pipeline in our current company, only two things are involved. One is an ETL tool known as stream sets, which will connect to multiple databases, SAP, EBS, and SFDC, and it will get the data from there, and it will create tables in Snowflake sources. You remember sources? Those are our sources for DBT project. It will get the data from those databases in the same format. It will not do any transformation. It will exactly dump the data in Snowflake. Now we from Snowflake we are using DBT to transformations and load them into clean tables. Now here there is no orchestration available. For orchestration again, they have to purchase new tool. So there are only two tools involved here, StreamSets and DBT. So DBT is providing orchestration for them. So they went with the DBT cloud. Why again purchase two other tools and do the self-management by themselves? They simply went with DBT cloud. So that is the client preference. Let's say there is another client here, he is using Airflow or something already for his orchestration things and all. So now he can also attach his DBT pipeline to that Airflow, and it will do the orchestration. So that is how the client's preference, or how they want to build this data pipeline. So that's how it works. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Okay. Any other doubts or something? Maybe Lavanya, did I go too fast, or are you able to understand things I'm saying, trying to convey here.
No, I mean, I'm little not understanding. So, but I need to watch your video. I need to complete that so that I mean
Okay.
the explanation I can understand, but practical when I move to the practical so that I can get to know.
Exactly. These are DBT terms, right? So you should be
Yeah.
if you
Actually,
watch the demo,
Lavanya, it is
maybe
a webinar actually. This is a webinar, right? So you need to understand all the DBT concept. Then only this webinar will be self-understandable.
Yes.